Right, here we go again, another bit of video, another section of the GT6 restoration. What I'm working on at the moment is all the interior refit. Some of these trim cards, if you like, some of the interior trim which is at the back of it here, we'll go through it in detail in a sec, and how I've kind of gone about it. And the reason I'm not sort of videoing it as I go in is because I don't know how it goes until it gets there, if you know what I mean. It's a process that, again, I decided to go this way, as the original trim cards here, they don't fit very well, they're very poor, and I think with a little bit of imagination and care we can improve them and make them fit better, and this is kind of how I've gone about it. So kind of what I did from the start was basically take the shape, the original shape from the card itself, from the old ones who were very badly damaged, I couldn't use them again, but I managed to get the basic shapes out of them. And what I did from there is, when I drew a round at the card, placed it down on a big sheet, I'm using 6mm MDF, the water resistant MDF, moisture resistant, not water. All I did was go around to get the shape, but I made it plus size. So where it needed to be bigger, because in my opinion they were too small to cover where they should have been covering. So what I decided to do was just mark it all out. If it needed to be an inch big, I just went round it an inch bigger, which is quite easy to do. If you draw the actual size on your sheet of 6mm, don't try and cut round it with a, cut round the shape with a jigsaw. Go round it with a pencil, create the pattern on the sheet with a pencil, and then draw all the big sizes on it. If it was an inch bigger there, just plus 1 inch, plus this, that and the other, and then cut it with your jigsaw, because it's a lot, well, one, it's a lot easier to do, and it's the right way of doing it, really. And that's all I fundamentally did. Where I thought it needed to be bigger or slightly better or whatever, I just made it bigger. So what I'm going to do is so it can only be a short video because I'm kind of doing it as I go along. I've got to cut the rear cards, and then once they're cut and shaped and drilled for all the plugs that I'm using to actually secure it, which are different than the originals, they're plastic ones now, what I'm using anyway. Once I've drilled it and they're all in shape, then I shall put them away until I'm ready to get the material to cover them, which I've managed to source quite easily, really. This table, I'll probably show a little bit of that on video. I've never done that before, so that will be a bit of a learning curve for myself as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to whip around with the camera now, and we're going to sort of point out where I've modified mine, if you like, where I feel you have to modify it. And some of the modifications are there because I've chose to use like a different insulation material, this sort of thing, which is a lot thinner. Well, let's go around there on the car, and I can point out what we're kind of looking for here. Let the camera off. Right, so there we go. Inside to start with. Well, all this here I've changed. Like I say, they're all copies from the original. Going back into this corner, I'm sure on your own GT6 you'll be able to see, or any car really, once you get them in there. And then these are the outer card here, which is all, obviously this section there comes along, tucks in right under the inside of there. And where I'm making mine bigger is on this wheel arch here. If you were to use the old British Leyland type insulation, that like fibre matting stuff, it's considerably thicker. Now I'm using the Dynamat type of material. It's called, not Dynamat, this is called Fat Max, that's it, Fat Mat, which is it's the same thing, it's exactly the same thing, it's just quite a bit cheaper than Dynamat. Well, not quite a bit, it's a little bit cheaper than Dynamat, but it's a similar sort of thing, and I think it's plenty good enough. But because it's a lot thinner, and the carpet itself, what I'll be putting on it is thinner, this gap here around the wheel arch needs to be closed up, so therefore the wheel arch is bigger than what the original was. So that's my, you know, one example of where I've had to make it bigger, because if I cut it to the exact size, we would have had a gap where, you know, the carpet was on there, and I think that'd probably look untidy, and well, I'm sure it'd look untidy. So we've gone for that direction. We did it on both sides. It's not sized perfect yet. Once I've got it all fitted and drilled and got the thickness of my you know, my fat max and my carpet, then I shall sand this. I shan't cut it because it only wants sanding all the way around until I get the nice even gap what I'm looking for all the way around the outside of there. I'm also going to modify the back section here where the lights are, and that's better if I show you that modification rather than try and explain it. Or I'm just going to box this section in here and remove this section of this, because the access, the indicators on these things is a nightmare. Now I think cutting that off there and just boxing this rear section in will make one a lot tidier job and a lot better job really. Let me go round to show you where else I increase the size. Go back inside the car now, and if you look down at this line here, which is sort of the rear of the doors, okay, the B pillows if you like, the inside of there, this thing ran quite a lot short of there, kind of around like that. Well, I kind of think it should, there's no need for it to run there. I filled that gap in, so, you know, I've made it bigger on here by about 25 millimeters, something like that, on that, so it follows this line better. So obviously your door seal will come down there. There will be a little bit of roof lining material that goes behind that to cover the trim, obviously, and which obviously, as you know, it always goes up here anyway. And that's again what I did on both sides. There's little cutouts here that I don't know what they were for, but I did them anyway, but I don't think you need them, so I wouldn't bother. The only thing I did that I probably wouldn't do if I was doing it again is actually all these holes. I drilled these holes to the original factory, and I don't think you need to do that, because a lot of the holes actually don't line up correctly. They were kind of put and used with, let me show this clip here. You see these kind of clips, those things. Well, if you move them around and in that circle, there's quite a large range of movement on there, which basically makes up for poor drilling, door hole sizing and positioning. We don't like to do things like that. So what I've got to do, what I'm going to do is, now I've got it mounted up, I've got it all clamped in place. Where I'm going to do it, I'm going to drill all my mounting holes where they need to be, in fresh places where they'll have more support, you know, for them. There'll be more on. They'll only be the push-in types, blind, you know, they won't be able to see them from the front face. And I'm going to make my own holes on both sides. But you notice on that side, I didn't actually drill them. I thought to myself, no, I'm going to do that after. Obviously, you have to look where your you know, your holes have got to be. You've got to make sure you've got good bodywork behind them, and you're not drilling to the outside of the car, which you can't actually do. But I mean, it's you know, just I say that to so you take care of where you're drilling your holes, kind of thing, you know. And that's what we're showing on there. I'm using two different kind of pegs. I'm going to say sort of down here I'm using this type. These push in. These are a more modern type of clip. They do show, but that's okay, because down here is covered by the floor, the base floor, which obviously covers the spare wheel, etc. But it's kind of covered up, and they are nice and strong. And where this tucks in, it sort of needs to be kept pretty strong. So I'm going to use them on this bottom, these three bottom ones, and behind here, where I've got the inner panel, which is covered by, obviously, by the roof lining. This panel is, but you know, I'm going to use them on there. Excuse me. Obviously, where it covers here as well, I'll mention. where they go behind this piece here, I'm going to just sink them in this 6mm a little bit, just get the router out and just sink them in a little bit so they're not sticking proud and pushing, you know, this part away. They can fit nice and tight up to there, you know, that's what I'm kind of saying on there. So kind of, yeah, you know what I'm doing. I'll stick it back on the stand, and then see, this is all, you know, preparation for you know, the interior fit out, which will be taking place over the next few weeks, kind of thing. You know, my plan mainly is to do this back section, you know, to a virtual finish, and you know, including putting the roof lining in. I've never put a roof lining in. I have a problem, which I will say that I've got a video. You will have seen the video by now, about me putting this roof lining in, and there's a bit of a story there to it. In fact, not the right one, but it's the only one that fits, but I'll explain. You know, you will have found that out by well, you will find out by what happens in the video, kind of thing. You know, I show a video, I showed the video putting it in, and I will be showing you what I've got to do about it now. But that's like an update on where we are, interior fit. You know, like as I tried to explain, you know, I can't show you exactly how I did it from start, but I kind of hope that's an explanation. If you do it yourself, you'll kind of you'll see what I mean by, you've got to take the basic shape with plus sizes, etc., and then it's just a case of nipping a little bit out of there, nipping a bit out of there, sanding it back there, so it's fitting nicely. And that's just, you know, takes hours and hours really, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth using a thicker material, because that, you know, hardboard material, what they used back in the 70s, is total rubbish. It falls apart, doesn't it? So I've upped the material a bit, which has meant I've had to use a router to where my holes are, to actually take a bit of material away, to take it down to about 3mm, so all the clips fit in nicely, and it's, you know, I'll include a little bit of that bit when I'm doing when I'm putting these pegs in here, but I think it just makes a better job, more sturdy job, and it's going to last a lot longer. Not that you take them off very often, I know, but you know, I think they make a better job personally. So that's kind of how I've gone about doing it. So I think that's all I can kind of do on this bit, and I'll come back and show you how I've sank my pegs in and all this kind of, excuse me, all this kind of thing, you know, in a bit later on, and hopefully you'll kind of get the gist of how I've gone about doing this interior, you know, which. Right, back again, just to finish off, well, not finish off this job, but just kind of do all the prep work for these panels. Just going to show you, like I said on the earlier on, I was going to show you how we sink these type of clips in. I'll grab one of these while we're here. And the type of clip I'm using is that one. Again, we can see it. It's off a Volkswagen clip, Volkswagen T25. Anyway, one of the older ones, I believe. And that's kind of thing what I'm doing, and I'm sure you realise they just fit into your obviously your panel, and then just push in. And what I've had to do, I'll bring you down so you can see where we're at. And because these here are they have basically a 3mm gap in there between those two where they fasten on, and how you fasten them on when they're done is push them in from that side and they twist, you know, because they've got this, you see this, get my camera right, you have this like little cutout there. And what allows you to do is that just flick it into a hole on an angle and just twist it round gently, and it flicks onto the other side. I'm not going to put them on now, I'm just kind of showing you what I've done. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I've got bits of cleaning and bits of and stuff. I don't need to put them on right now, and I don't want to damage them because I want to lie them flat back up there until I'm ready to put the vinyl covers over them, like. So I just, you know, kind of show this particular type of clip, and that will just all be a row of them, won't they? They'll all fit on from that side. The holes I've drilled are a little bit bigger than what you need to. I've drilled them at 7.5mm. The reason I'm doing that is just give it a little bit of a movement, you know, just in case anything isn't quite, you know, 100% lined up. You know, you make your best to do that, but I think it's a good idea just to give yourself a little bit of flexibility in there, or you could create yourself, you know, a whole lot of problems that you don't want. That's where we're up to on that particular job. When back to me, the next stage we've got to do there is, obviously before we put the vinyl covers on it, is to clip every one of them in. Clip them all in, test it, just to make sure, because once you put your vinyl on, big problem to get it all off again, because you've got to use adhesive, or I will be using adhesive, not everyone does. So, you know, these little test fits is what you're looking for, and sort of the next job, or the jobs I want to do before that, is obviously I've got to put all the roof lining in, like I said earlier on. So I want to get all the roof lining in, all the base, you know, the dynamite type, fat mat, sorry, what I'm using, fat mat insulation base, get the carpets on. Once all that carpet's on, we'll actually get this wheel arch that we've got here. Obviously we want it to be a good, nice, tight fit over the top of the wheel arch, and until we've kind of got the carpet on and the, you know, the insulation, that's a bit guesswork really, isn't it? It's in about the right shape at that, but once we've got it down, we'll have it fitted all up, all the holes lined up and everything, and see how much we need to take off the arch so we get a nice tight fit on the carpet when they're on, including obviously the vinyl, which will, you know, comes down the front of there, doesn't it, and wraps underneath. That's kind of what we'll, you know, be making sure we do on that. And you know, fundamentally that's where we are, kind of thing, you know. So I'll probably show putting the lining on there, you know, the vinyl on there, and we can, you know, I've never done that before, so I'm going to work out a way of doing it. I'm sure thousands of people know how, just I've never done it. So we'll do that side of it before we put him on. So the next things are, we've got all the jobs to do before we put these on, but I'll call it a day, that one, on this. Just thought I'd include it because, you know, these things are, one, expensive to buy, these panels. I don't know the quality of the ones you buy. You know, if they're exactly the same as the ones that came out of the factory, they're a poor fit, because the factory ones are a poor fit. These I've made to fit, you know, bespoke really, but you know, I think they're going to fit a lot better and make a nice finish off job. And I think these little extra bits of little effort that you go to are going to, how can we say, make that difference to a car that somebody's thrown together, or somebody's thought about it as they put it together.